Greetings, sir and sirettes, and welcome back to From the Depths with me, Lathrix, and of course, welcome after a very long time to the Cathalon, our little resource harvesting vehicle, and one of the few vehicles which are still being powered by regular fuel. And of course, as soon as I start recording, it goes to nighttime, but at least it makes the Cathalon look very, very evil. So in today's episode, we are hopefully going to finish off the Onyx Watch, and then declare war against the Lightning Hoods. That is the main goal. However, it may not happen. It all depends on how fast we can go through the enemy forces. Now, to make things a bit more interesting, I do want to spawn in our CRAM cannon tank very soon, and I would love to see our CRAM cannon tank versus the Treadstone, the main force of the Onyx Watch, because this means we can have CRAM cannons versus CRAM cannons and explosions everywhere. And I'm fairly certain that our tank has a much more powerful weapon than almost every single Onyx Watch unit we've seen so far, so perhaps a couple of shots will be enough to be deadly even against their largest creations. And of course, whilst all of this is going on, down south we will have our defenders still defending against the White Flyers, that's their name, including our melee vehicle, so hopefully a lot of battles today. But for now, we're just going to continue to harvest resources, both from the locations we've already controlled, our new location, and we should have the CRAM cannon tank up soon. So I'll be back in a second when we're either under attack, or we're able to use a new vehicle. No one will be able to unsee the fact that the CRAM cannon tank is actually a creepy smiling frog. It's actually a Pac-Man frog. If you don't know what those are, Google it. But this is... Yep, I've accidentally created a Pac-Man frog. Hopefully once the armor is back where it should be after it's been repaired, maybe it'll look a bit more normal again. Ribbit. The CRAM cannon tank has just been finished, and we are now under attack by the White Flyers. So it's not a particularly impressive fleet, however it does have the Beholder within it. So let's get our melee vehicle ready to hopefully attack the Beholder very soon after the fight starts, and all of the others, the usual, just go around the side. Now there is one problem in that I'm fairly certain, because of how I've spawned these in, the Abaddon may not be able to attack straight away, so let's hope the melee vehicle does its job well. And so the battle begins. Let's see what's going on. The Abaddon has just fired, causing a really cool bloom effect, and they are all focusing on the Bloodletter as always, although the Bloodletter this time at least is able to fight back at least for a while. Now our melee vehicle should be going straight for the Beholder, which looks like it might be stuck. It's not moving. No, it's not stuck. Perhaps it takes some time to power up. I've not really seen much of the Beholder, to be perfectly honest. All those lovely shots from the Bloodletter hitting the front of the Beholder, sadly not doing all that much, but here comes the melee attack, causing us to bounce because of how heavy the enemy is. And that was actually pretty cool. We bounced up into the air and then threw a CRAM cannon right into its shield. Come on, you can do it. That's it. Cutting open the inside very effectively, going inside, although it's hard to see with all of the smoke. Both the smoke from the smoke dispensers of the Beholder and of course our own smoke effects as well. The enemy Slayer or Forsaken here just being hit very nastily. I think that may be dead. The Bloodletter has been killed, which isn't a surprise, and the Beholder is now aiming at one of the Abaddon. Oh no, it's happened! We've got stuck underneath! Now, a lot of people did say, why don't I just make the lovely Bloodthirster a hovercraft rather than a tank? And there's a few reasons for that, including going over the target and simply flying off, but it simply means we are far less stable as we take damage. Also, when we hit the target, there's a good chance of us bouncing off and going flying the wrong way. So it's more stable when we hit the target, but then we do have a lot of problems otherwise. Yep, we are pretty much carrying the Beholder around at this stage. Not really the best position for us to be in. It seems like the Abaddon are out of ammo right now, which is kind of annoying. I think that may be my own fault. I wonder if the CRAM cannon will fire with it being so close to us. Let's find out. Let's try to manual fire. We currently have control of the CRAM cannon. Let's turn it this way if we can. Ah, it won't fire because it can't figure out where the enemy is. Whilst it's on top of me. Yeah, this is the battle right now, by the way. On the upside, the Beholder can't really do much. It's just being carried around, and it's focusing on the Abaddon, which just takes the damage really well. There we are, finally getting free from the Beholder. Let's fire the CRAM cannon manually. There we are, as we leave. We should go back for it, though, after we do another attack run. Still need to improve the turning a little bit. There we go, a big chunk of the front section of the Beholder has been removed. And there we go, at the side of it, loads of damage again. Remember, the Beholder is a 100,000 plus resource vehicle and is actually bigger than the Chaos, so the fact we're doing so well, and it is classed as being too damaged. The Beholder has been destroyed by the combined forces of melee and then a couple of shells from the Abaddon as well, although the missiles did a lot during the fight. I wish I could figure out, I wish in this game there was a system in place. In the corner here, you already see all the damage which has been done in the fight, but I wish it showed which vehicle had done what. A resounding victory. Now, the Abaddon didn't fire during that entire fight. Why? What was going on with the Abaddon? You had shells. No shells loaded right now. I think they were firing, just not from what I saw. I think every time I looked, they'd finished their round of attack, since they attack in a short burst and then reload for about 10 seconds. Yeah, this one is definitely ready to fire. There we are. I think it's just a matter of the barrel got damaged and I just missed the vast majority of the attacks. Wait. We captured the Beholder? Okay, so that was a turn of events I didn't expect. So apparently we have grabbed the blueprint for the Beholder. The problem is, I can't repair it. If I do... Oh yeah, we got loads of resource from that. Because we captured the Beholder just before it died, it means a lot of the last bit of health we got back as 100%. Because if we kill one of our own vehicles, or one of our vehicles is being dismantled, we get 100% of that resource back. If an enemy is defeated, we get 10% of it back. That's why we're currently on around about 30,000 since the resource is split between the two groups. Beforehand, I was on about 9,000. Okay, well, we'll take the blueprint back. There's 6,000 there, which could be from the Beholder, actually. We'll take the blueprint back. We will repair it as best we can, and then perhaps I'll do some manual repairs and then use it as a husk to do some resource gathering. The Onyx Watch hasn't attacked us yet, which is fantastic. The CRAM cannon is almost there, and then we can make our move against the Onyx Watch. A pretty good start. Still highlighting a few problems with the melee vehicle, but it's doing well. Here we go, using the CRAM tank in its first true battle versus the Onyx Watch. The Onyx Watch are actually bringing a Rhino into this battle, so hopefully it can redeem itself from the previous experience. Now, to be honest, I have tested out the Rhino in the sandbox mode a little bit more, and I've got to say, although it's a fantastic design, it looks awesome, and the firepower is immense. As soon as the outer armor is breached, this thing dies within moments. Fragment shells and fragment missiles in particular absolutely wreck this thing, and even heat or HESH shells would probably do incredibly well as well. So shaped charges on advanced cannons, especially since the Onyx Watch don't really use shields, would obliterate the Rhino in moments. Of course, we're not bringing those, as we are almost completely missile based with this group, being Krulls and Carnages, and of course a single Bloodletter, but at least now we can use the CRAM tank. Now, to a little bit of a disclaimer, before we get into the fight, the CRAM cannon will take at least 17 seconds before it can fire, because CRAM cannons go into battles once they're first spawned, not loaded, so they do have to reload before they fire. So it may be a little bit of a long shot if the CRAM cannon tank actually gets much use in this fight, but hopefully we'll see at least something. And there we are, the fight has started, and I have instantly seen a problem. Oh dear, it seems like I forgot to change the missiles from torpedoes back into missiles. So, I would do that now, but I can't do it whilst the game is paused, and I want to see the CRAM cannon in action, so can't really do anything about that just yet. Also, why is that not maximum? Is the CRAM cannon tank even spawned in? Yes, it is. Okay, continue onwards. We're not stuck in the ground, are we? No, we're just low on energy because I haven't spawned this in yet. Okay, my bad. The enemy Rhino there, detonating on the inside. Actually, that was definitely self-harm. I just saw lots of little hits all in a row. And, of course, we have been damaged because we're standing on the top of the CRAM cannon tank. Of course, we've now moved back, so hopefully we can watch it in action. The shell is being fired. I do apologise for the fact we can't really see all that much. Nothing much I can do about this as I have taken damage. Okay, the shells are going in, and there they go! The shells have hit this tank here. What tank actually is that? Is that the Sentinel? Yeah, it's definitely the Sentinel. Into the air it goes, with the droplets of water everywhere. Let me just check if there's a way to actually turn this off, because this looks awful. Well, I've looked for a while, and it doesn't seem like there's any actual way to turn off the water effect when you've taken damage. A little bit annoying, but sadly it seems like it's something we're going to have to live with. Now, whilst we have the water annoyingly on our screen, as we can see here with the Rhino, it's taken a load of damage to the side. Now, this is exactly what I was talking about. All that happened is one missile hit the side here. It was a missile from the Swarm version of the Carnage, so the smallest missiles we're using. It then detonated this advanced cannon, which then caused loads of detonations on the inside, and has completely gutted half of the vehicle. So with that, let's carry on. They're aiming at our CRAM cannon tank a lot right now, which apparently caused me to have a coughing fit. I do apologise for the pause there. Okay, incoming shells from the CRAM cannon tank, which will be called Siege very soon, by the way. It's going to be called the Siege tank, or just Siege for short. Even though it's a very generic name, it's an awesome one. Self-harming there again from the Rhino, and a massive amount of damage from the CRAM cannon hitting one of the other tanks. The missiles are now going inside of the Rhino, and it doesn't seem to be... Ooh, long for this world. Now, where is the other Carnage? It's on the floor. It must have taken... No, it's not on the floor. It's just... It looks like it was on the floor because of some optical illusion. Nope, they're both still airborne. Everything's going fine. The Bloodletter, on the other hand, has taken damage again. It drastically needs a new version. The Rhino is now being finished off, and there comes another CRAM shot from the new CRAM cannon tank. Let's see how it's going to do, and... One sadly hitting a bit too early, but still sending it flying. It absolutely melts any armor it seems to hit. Also, why is that vehicle there, just sitting there? I think we should be able to capture that, honestly. So, what's closest? Pause time. We've taken some damage to one of the Carnage, actually. Let's have a quick look, see how the Carnage is doing first. Okay, no, this Carnage has gone down. It was going down. It's taken enough damage to finally be forced down to the ground. That took a long time, but we have lost one of our first elite vehicles. Now, like I was saying, let's jump onto this Krull, and let's see what we can capture, since they are pretty much downed. We are now facing the Strength 100 group, so there's a lot of vehicles on the enemy team. Oh, they're all being classed as 2 damaged, as always. Except for that one there. It'll take a sec to get over there. The Carnage, which is currently grounded, just got hit by a CRAM cannon shell. I've turned off all of the AI of our vehicles just for now. It seems like there's only one vehicle left, so I'm going to turn on a Krull just for one volley of missiles, and I'll turn it back off. And we'll see if this does enough damage to stop it. And... there they go. Honestly, I think this showcases the weakness of CRAM cannons more than anything, just because of how explosive they really are. Either way, though, this is now stopped. So, and there's the AI. A very, very clean capture indeed, and this is one of the Fletchers. Actually, that's a fantastic vehicle to capture, as this should have an advanced cannon. I believe it has a minigun, so we will repair this, we'll see what the minigun is like, and if it's good enough, we could easily convert it to be more similar to our bloodletters. I just looked back at the footage. Wow, that was a terribly recorded fight. There was so much going on and so many things I wanted to personally see, I ended up missing half of the fight. I'm sorry about that. In the next battle, I'm going to jump off straight away and then watch from an aerial view. No more bouncing around. Also, we got loads of resources from that. Well, scrap the idea I was saying a moment ago. Sadly, it turns out the Fletcher is far larger than I originally thought. Already, we are on 2026.75 volume. We don't have any of the weaponry, but at least looking inside of the vehicle, I have figured out a couple of things. The reason why the Fletcher is so vulnerable is because it has so many explosive pellets right next to the outer armor, and that's true for pretty much the entire vehicle, especially on the underside. So any of our missiles, which are going underneath the enemy vehicles, are what's causing so many internal explosions. It also, once again, showcases the weakness of CRAM cannons. I know I said that a moment ago, but there's a reason why people tend to use advanced more than CRAM. It's a lot easier to protect advanced cannons and have them less, well, deadly to the entire vehicle. Well, I'm afraid, Fletcher, great to have you, but I'm going to kill you for the good of the rest of the group so that we can have your resources. There we are. And so we can repair everything and carry on. In fact, we could make a second CRAM tank. Though I think I'll do that after we attack the main base, or just before. Straight into another battle. Now we've rushed into this fight because it turns out the enemy main base has just sent a small force north to reinforce these tiles, which means right now the Treadstone is completely vulnerable, which means we want to kill it straight away. Now this was damage from this. So already hurting each other. A fantastic start for the Onyx Watch. The swarm missiles there hitting that enemy, not doing all that much, sadly. Loads of CRAM shells going against our CRAM tank, which isn't moving very quick because once again, I forgot to allow it to keep energy. It's currently giving its energy to the rest of the group. Oh, that looks so bad. Oh, that's exactly where I didn't want it to hit. The barrel's gone. Yep. Okay, our CRAM tank is being beaten up horribly. Yeah, there it goes. The weapon has been removed from several shells hitting it. It currently doesn't have... Ow! Shields. The CRAM tank has been removed from the fight pretty early. The Bloodletter is alive and well, absolutely crushing the enemies it's aiming at. And of course, missiles from all of our vehicles are doing their job very quickly. Sadly though, not quite quick enough to save the tank. That's what happens when something can't move out of the way of CRAM shells. The Bloodletter is definitely doing better versus the Onyx Watch than the White Flyers because of the lack of fast-moving shells. The fact it's a hovercraft, although it makes it a little bit more vulnerable than a regular tank, it does mean that CRAM cannon shells are for the most part missing. Where's the second Carnage? Okay, good. Both Carnage are still in the air this time. The fact I missed one of the Carnage going down is still upsetting to me. That explosion there from the Bloodletter, aiming at a new target, hitting that one, causing a small explosion. It's harder to see the shells now since the change in how the graphics are rendered. It is a bit difficult to see where the Bloodletter's actually firing. Oh, a CRAM cannon shell to the Bloodletter. The Bloodletter is going down. We've lost 2 vehicles. The Carnage, though, doing their work, although slowly against the enemy. Missiles are definitely not one of the highest damage solutions, but in terms of reliability, they will beat all else. I still haven't changed those torpedoes. Go forth, torpedoes! Kill the enemy, even though you don't work in the air. Wait, is that the CRAM tank? Proving that the armor is pretty good on the CRAM tank. The final swarm of missiles from all of the Krull at the same time. And down it goes. Is that the last enemy, or is that still classed as being alive? That is still classed as being alive. Well, whilst that's going on, let's jump onto the Carnage and change the weapons. Oh, one of the Carnage has been hurt again. How did I miss this? You okay, Carnage, buddy? Well, you are repairing naturally, just I'll give you a helping hand. Hey, no, you're the Swarm variant. Where's the other variant? Last time it was the other variant which took the damage.
Yes?
Both of the Carnage had actually got quite hurt this fight. No, that's a CRAM. There we are. So no, only one Carnage got hurt. I misread the names. See, you are not what we want. You are. Wait. You're both torpedoes? You're both torpedoes. Goodbye, propeller, and goodbye to the sonar. There we are. We are back to using regular missiles. Also, look at the missiles dance if I keep on spamming that button. That's really weird. There we are, all is well and good. How did I miss the Carnage taking damage? Okay. Oh, we're upside down. Well, that apparently happened. Let's flip you the right side up, allow the PID to fix everything else. There's the repair bots getting to work. The Carnage does have quite a few repair bots, so it's weird to see how slow this is repairing. Perhaps it's because we have heavy armor which has more health. I'm not quite sure how that works. Perhaps it doesn't make a difference, perhaps it does. Not really too sure. There we are. It now has triple the amount of repair bots, so hopefully in the future, if it does take minor damage, it can repair a little bit faster. So let's allow it off the ground, and shield's back online, movement is back online, everything is all good. I still want to know what killed it, because we've seen in the past it take a CRAM cannon shot and just carry on, so really curious about that. Oh, we are under attack. Okay, that's the force they moved north. That is not what I wanted to see right now. Rhino, Bison, and one of those. Okay, so everything just stay where you are. I'm going to get onto one of the Carnage, and let's just get straight into this fight. The Rhino do seem incredibly vulnerable to the missiles from the Carnage, especially the cruise missile variant. Today is Missile City. For those who love missiles, it's kind of beautiful. So many shots from the Rhino heading towards our CRAM tank, which isn't even working yet. You are not focusing on the right target here, guys. Ooh, one of the enemies have rammed into the Rhino. Missiles hitting the side there, not seeming to do too much. Oh, the Rhino in the back, again. Okay, so like I was saying, pausing time, any missile which hits the bottom of the Rhino pretty much kills it. I really want to see a CRAM tank hit that location, because that would be amazing. It would just instantly destroy it. So much lag from this. Can you guys kill these two, please? Oh, wow. Loads of shots heading towards the CRAM tank still. Yep, the CRAM tank. Mostly missing. One hitting the side lightly, but not too much. One of the Rhinos has been downed. Oh, that's really been downed. Okay, one Rhino is dead. The Carnage is taking damage again. Which one is it? Is it this one or is it the other one? The other one. I think it's the one which is too low. Stop. Sadly, I can't actually flip this mid-fight, so we're just on there now to help the repairs. I need to watch the Carnage and see what's happening there. Wait, was that CRAM hit? Did our CRAM tank repair during the fight? Yes, it did! It's got one of its barrels back online. Oh, come on, hit the Rhino. Hit it, hit it, hit it. Yes! Massive explosion on the side. If it still had the internals, that would have just outright killed it. Wonderful, fantastic. You flip, now the battle's over. What's wrong with you? It's the same one again. Guidance delay, warhead delay. You aren't hurting yourself, are you? You shouldn't be. Maybe it's the advanced cannons from the Rhino, but I'm just not sure why suddenly one of the two Carnage keeps on getting killed. Is this the one which goes to... Which altitude are you? Let's have a quick look. See, there's the AI at the top. Yeah, this is the 125. Maybe it is just too low. It's so low, it's getting hits on the top and on the side rather than the bottom, which is heavily shielded and heavily armoured. The weak spot with the Carnage is the top. Yeah, I think it's too low. So what I'm going to do is go ahead, change the PID system and such, and we're going to make it so it goes to 150 rather than 125. There we are, the PID system and the aerial AI are now working together again, and we are now at 150 altitude. Hopefully, this will make a bit of a difference. I'm actually tempted to make the PID system a little bit weaker, because it's the PID system which makes this flyer so stable, so obvious where it's going, and thus so predictable for enemy AI. It does mean the Carnage is being hit a lot more than a standard thruster craft, but it also makes it really, really stable, which looks really cool as it drifts around the enemy. It also allows it to be really close to the enemy without losing altitude or having problems like that. Decisions.
Yes?
All of you repair? No, not spawn in, repair. Thank you. Maybe not the Bloodletter. Perhaps just allowing the Bloodletter to die before going to the next fight. No, we have enough resources. Okay, let's get into the final fight then. Let's just see if we can move any forces defending out. I think we still have to fight the Strength 100. It just doesn't have the additional forces. There they are. Let's bring them out, kill these guys, and then we can go against the Treadstone. Now that was one laggy start, and in fact the land still isn't spawning in. I really should have spawned in first. Oh, look at that self-harming from the Rhino! Just obliterating itself there. We did nothing to that yet. Nothing at all. And killing its friend in the process. Oh, that needs some firing restraints so badly. Okay, there's the Carnage I'm on. The firing is working fine, so it definitely isn't self-harming. Unlike the enemy Rhino, which just hit itself again. I am just lost for words when I'm watching the Onyx Watch sometimes. I adore you, Onyx Watch, but you do feel like one of the least polished of the Ashes of the Empire campaign factions. I was going to split this video into two, but I think finishing off the Onyx Watch would do better as a single longer video. Incoming our CRAM cannon, going for the Rhino, and there it goes. A massive dent to the front. Once again, if it still had the turret there, that would have been a lot more impressive. Oh. Shell just missing the Bloodletter there. Although it does seem a little bit damaged. One of the Krull seems to be offline as well. Second shot incoming from the CRAM tank. We could have captured the Rhino if we jumped off, but honestly I'm just basking in the devastation of missiles and CRAM shells. I think I will try to make some weaker versions of the CRAM tank so that we can volley CRAM shells. Because honestly, that is very satisfying. I do have a new love for CRAM since I've started experimenting with it in the sandbox mode. Another AI death. Missiles doing fine. It seems like we just must have took a CRAM cannon to the side whilst we were in... Ooh, the Carnage. There we are, our CRAM tank escaping the enemy with its AI, so that's working perfectly. Incoming CRAM shell, and just missing. It was being bounced around too much for it to figure out where it was. That's going to hurt so much. The glory of fragments, everyone. The glory of fragments. CRAM shell again from our new tank, from Siege. At least that's what I think I'm going to call it. I don't know if I mentioned that yet in this video, because there is quite a bit I end up cutting from videos. For instance, I've been recording now for about 5 hours, probably seems like about 20-30 minutes in actual video time, but so far the main suggestion I like for this tank is just Siege, because it is a Siege tank, like from StarCraft, and I just like the simple name, Siege. So maybe we'll call it Siege, maybe we'll try to call it something more Warhammer themed like all the others, I'm not really too sure just yet. And that was the least damage we have taken so far from any of these fights.
Yes.
The Rhino needs to be worked on. It looks awesome, the firepower is awesome, but it's just not complete yet. And honestly shouldn't be in the campaign, it keeps killing itself. Actually a couple of the Onyx Watch do fall into that category of hurting themselves more than the enemy. So here we are ending them. We're putting them down. They've got a limp, you see.
Yes. On my way. On my way.
Let's wait until it's daytime. Let's make it nice and thematic rather than having it all dark and dreary. It's time to begin against the enemy Treadstone, a 12,000 volume enemy with 2 building guards. Let's see how it does. Of course, we're going to send all of our forces as we usually do. Let's have the Bloodletter somewhere over here. Let's have the Krull there, and the CRAM somewhere over towards the south. And then the last 2 Krull can just be meandering in the middle. We're going to get on board... In fact, we're going to get on board the Krull to make sure we stay safe during the fight. Come on, Treadstone. Don't disappoint us. I believe in you. You can do this. Let's pause time to actually have a look at this thing, first of all. It looks like a mountain of metal from this distance. Okay, it does actually have shields. Not many oh no, it does have a few shields which are less visible than the others. There's a huge CRAM cannon on the top. There's loads of major CRAM cannons. It looks like an absolutely ridiculous version of the Bison. Okay then, continue. The missile's going for the cannon tower there. Uh-oh. CRAM tank, move faster, please. Okay, 1 volley from the Treadstone has killed our CRAM tank. Missiles are all hitting the front. Let's see if that's vulnerable. Loads of flares, which of course are useless versus our missiles. A little bit of anti-air there. They seem to be armor-piercing rounds. Probably won't do too well versus our heavy armor. Here comes an insane volley from all of the Krull. Oh, here comes shells against the Bloodletter. Oh wow, that Bloodletter looks bad already. And... okay, Bloodletter's been down. 2 of our vehicles have been removed. Huge explosion. Oh, wow. The side of the Treadstone has been revealed. The top has just been removed. And it's looking very, very bad for the Treadstone right now. Just to prove this, because some people were saying this in the previous video, we are on regular difficulty. It's just CRAM tanks explode so easily. Even like my heavily armored one over there can be killed very easily. Okay, I think we should get ready to capture this now. Let's jump onto a Carnage. Okay, let's turn off our boots so we land normally. Everyone off. We are going to capture this and we're going to use it as a resource harvester. Ooh, that was a really nasty hit there on the Carnage. Are you okay? You gonna survive? I can't turn them on though, otherwise they're just going to volley. Was that a proximity shell? Or a type? Okay, Carnage, never mind. I'd rather the Carnage survive. Get moving. Well, it survived 2 CRAM cannons to the face. That is pretty impressive. Yeah, it must be a timed fuse. Only the Carnage is currently fighting against the Treadstone. Oh, there's the cruise missiles. Once again, the fragment's detonating it. Did we just capture it? We were close enough to capture it. Okay, we have the Treadstone. The Treadstone is ours. Oh, this poor thing. Hello, Treadstone. How you doing, buddy? Welcome to the Lathrixian Legion. Okay, you use fuel. That's not a good thing for us, but we can always change that later. Okay, let's just quickly go over to material gatherers. Actually, let's find your AI first, because honestly, you don't seem too damaged. Now, do you use turning wheels, or do you have some other type of control? No, you use turning wheels. Okay, that way then we can just put in our own AI, and it won't be quite as much of a hassle. Okay, let's do it here. That goes there. We have to always swap one of their blocks, otherwise we can't do this since we are over the limit. And then we just need the land AI, like so, and then underneath... No, we can't do that anymore. Yes, we can. Okay, underneath we can then add a transmitter. Okay, that should be working. So now the Treadstone should be movable. Treadstone, move over here. Why not? Oh, it is. It's just very slow. Yep, okay, we have the Treadstone already moving. That's fantastic. The next thing I want to do then is change the engine over to an electrical engine which uses RTGs. That way, it's just easier to set up as a harvester. Resources, material gatherers, yes. Please remember though, again, I know I keep saying this, but I don't want to seem negative about this faction. It's just... the Onyx Watch is not meant to be such a late game faction. We've just sort of fought them in a very weird order, is the problem. So we've been fighting the early game stuff way later than we should have. So at this point we already have heavy armor. We should have been fighting the Onyx Watch straight after the Dustwind Gypsies, I think that name is, if I'm actually correct there for once, because I normally mess that up. But it should be the Dustwind Gypsies who we fight just before this. Sorry if I'm not really making much sense, trying to build whilst talking, not exactly a strong point of mine. But instead, we went after the Empire, the Steel Empire. And so, the final thing we need to do, we are now doing. Let's turn off all of the shields. There we go, so no longer is the engine being used up on all of that shielding. Instead, it's just focused on the resource gatherers. So once again, a leader of the faction has been reduced into our own personal resource harvester. And here, apparently, is the corpse of the Bloodletter, which was so easily killed by this thing. So then, like I was trying to say before, but was kind of droning on and on whilst I was trying to build, we should have really fought the Onyx Watch a lot earlier. It's as if we went after the harder late game enemies first, and then moved on to the easier enemies. The Onyx Watch is not meant to be a difficult faction. It's purposefully built in such a way that it is very volatile, it's very explosive. You do have a chance, even if you have low resources. We have 3 infinite resource zones. In fact, now we have 4, but at the time we had 3 infinite resource zones. We could easily send a lot of forces their way, and because we're now using heavy armor because of this excess of resource, we were able to just utterly obliterate them. So, a bit of a disappointing experience, but honestly, it's our own fault for fighting them in the wrong order. But here we are, the Treadstone is now ours, the Onyx Watch has now been defeated. And in the next episode, we are going to declare war versus the Lightning Hoods. Thank you so much for watching. If you have enjoyed the video, then of course, likes, favourites, shares, comments, all that good stuff helps out me, helps out the channel, and most importantly, shows that From the Depths is a series you wish to see continued in the future. Thank you so much for watching, and goodbye. Now where can this cannon actually fire? A great end.